الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. أما بعد, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says in His glorious book, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم, in Surah Al-Ankabut, chapter 29, verse 69. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ لَمَعَ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And those who strive for us, we will surely guide them to our ways. And indeed, Allah is with the doers of good. Now, jihad is the apex of Islam. It's the highest status in Islam. And the people who perform it have the highest reward and position in Jannah. Now, Muslims usually in the West especially, they get a little nervous when the word jihad is mentioned, because the West has perfected how to put negative connotations to the word. But it is part of our religion. We're proud of it. So let's understand what makes jihad. Now, the term jihad in Arabic means striving, means putting effort. It's much more than just fighting. Fighting is qital, it's a different term. But qital goes under part of striving when you have to defend the faith. Sometimes you have to go to war. So that is the highest level of that category. But any struggle, any exerting effort, any difficulties that you experience in Allah's way goes underneath jihad. You're putting the effort. You're putting that effort to obey Allah and to perform the parts of your faith. But that jihad has many levels. If you look at it, think of it as a pyramid. Fighting is at the top of that pyramid. But before you get there, there's many levels that you have to build in order to get to that top. And the first and most basic level that everyone should have is fighting your own desires. That is the biggest battle, that is a daily battle that we have every day, fighting the whispers of the devil and fighting the inclinations of the self. Desires, you want to sleep in the morning. You don't want to wake up for Fajr. That's what the body is doing. But when you exert the effort to tell the body, no, I will not prefer to rest over praying, and you get up, that takes effort. And you do that effort, that's part of jihad. You're making jihad against your own self to perform that. So these steps, this basic step covers, establishing Islam at home. Can you do that? Can you establish Islam at your home? How about at work? Can you deal with others according to Islamic principles and the high standards of Islam? Can you uphold the truth when it's against yourself? It's not in your best interest to uphold the truth, but you fight yourself in order to implement the truth even at your own expense. That's all part of jihad. You're making that effort. If you control your desires, that's a big jihad, because the nafs, you're fighting a devil, you're fighting the nafs, you're fighting other people. You have many enemies, and you're trying to do your best to be the best believer that you can. So this is level one. Don't talk about fighting if you're going to fail in level one, because if you cannot overcome your own desires, you cannot fight a squirrel, let alone an enemy. So you have to have that basic level firm and in place. You keep your desires in control, now you're ready for level two. Level two is having the correct aqidah, the correct creed, and seeking knowledge. Because how are you going to know what that aqidah is without seeking knowledge? And seeking knowledge takes time, takes effort, takes money. There's difficulties endured in getting that critical knowledge. Why are we here? What are we supposed to do in this life? Where are we going after we die? All of these, you get them from acquiring knowledge of the faith. So developing the correct aqidah requires knowledge and dedication. So this will not be accomplished attending a 10-15 minute khutbah every Friday. You have to set time to get that knowledge, and not spare time, prime time. Faith should not be something secondary. Oh, I got a half an hour spare time today, let me do this. No, you schedule it. You schedule that time to get closer to Allah, to know about the faith. What does Allah want from me? How am I supposed to be acting? That's all jihad. Do it after Fajr. Do it. Find time, prime time to do this, and not have that as a secondary thing that just happens. Level 3 is you acquire that knowledge, you're fighting yourself, now it's time to implement that knowledge. Knowledge without implementation is useless. You can be carrying an encyclopedia of Islamic knowledge with you. If you don't implement it, it's worthless. You acquire knowledge to implement, not to have knowledge for its own sake. Knowledge is a means, it's not a destination. It's a tool that you use to get you to perform what Allah wants you to do. So that's level 3. So now you have the knowledge, and now you're working at it. Another layer on top of that in that pyramid is now you share that knowledge with others. You make da'wah. You call others to Allah, because a believer is not selfish. A true believer is not happy that I am guided and everyone around him is not. He wants the same thing to everyone around him. A believer is full of goodness. And you take that knowledge and you put it into action. So the part of the da'wah in Surah Al-Furqan, chapter 25, verse 52, Allah says, فَلَا تُطِعِ الْكَافِرِينَ وَجَاهِدْهُمْ بِهِ جِهَادًا كَبِيرًا, addressing his Prophet ﷺ. Say, do not obey the disbelievers and strive against them with it, with the Quran. A great striving. Now the bihi in Arabic is reference to the Quran. And there is no other type of jihad that was described in the Quran as a great jihad. Jihad and kabira. That's when you make da'wah. When you take this faith from your own self, from your own community, and you spread it out. That's a great jihad. It's a great level of jihad when you arm yourself with the Quran. And to arm yourself with the Quran, meaning that you're learning it, you're memorizing it, you're implementing it, you're teaching it to others, you're showcasing its miracles, you are refuting the accusations against it, and you're defending it from its enemies. That's what the jihad with the Quran is. The Quran is your weapon, is your armor, is your suit of armor. But in order to be a suit of armor for you, you have to learn it. You have to know what's in the Quran. You have to know what Allah wants from you. And you have to have the hujjah. When somebody comes in and say, oh, your Quran says this and this. And if you are on social media, all you have to do is put something Islamic in nature, and you get all kinds of attacks coming at you with weird stuff. I mean, somebody was arguing that Islam is not the religion of peace. No, it is the Islamic. It is the religion of peace. And they give you these 4 or 5 verses translated from the Quran it makes you laugh. It says, like one of the verses says, you fight them because they're stupid. What are you talking about? What verse are you talking about? The verse talking about they don't know what Allah's is and what His faith is. That's why you're fighting them, not because they're stupid. But you have to confront this ignorance, but you have to arm yourself with knowledge. Without knowledge, you'll actually get yourself in big trouble, or you get your faith shaken. So it is very important to learn the faith, to put the time, and to use that knowledge to defend the faith. So you do it in person, you do it online, you do it any way that you can. You perform jihad with this Quran, with Allah's commandments, with the principles of Islam. You defend them, you spread them. You want everyone to share them. And you don't shy away when somebody speaks ill of it or challenges you with something that you may not know. Shame on you. You should increase your knowledge so you'll have a ready answer when these things come up, because it's always the same thing. So that requires a solid foundation from the previous 3 levels. You don't get to that level just wishing it or 10 minutes a week. You have to put the effort. So jihad is the apex of Islam. It's the highest and most honorable state for a Muslim. And the status of its people, as I said, in Jannah is the highest level. We have to strive for the highest level. Now, jihad, as I said, is to exert every possible effort to learn, to implement, to spread, and to defend Islam. These are all from the context of jihad and the struggle that a believer has to do from the time you're an adult till the time you meet your maker. So this requires a lot of effort, a lot of patience, a lot of perseverance. And the tougher the environment is, like the one we're in, the higher the reward. It makes you a stronger believer when you're faced with a strong enemy. Weak enemies or no enemies, they will not make you strong. Tough enemies will make you tough. You have to go in and you have to research and you have to study and you have to refute them and refute their lies and make sure the truth shines. So the fighting part of jihad may not be available to us because it has its special conditions and its special terms. But the struggle against the self and the struggle to learn the faith and to spread the faith is widely available to all of us. In the past, when they used to go to battle, the Muslim army, under 2 conditions. Either you're attacked and you're defending yourself, or you're trying to spread Allah's word and the other side is preventing you from doing it. Now, people can argue today, you can post anything online and it can reach all corners of the world without having to, you don't have to fight. The message can be disseminated freely and readily. So we need to focus on that, on making sure people hear the truth. Because a lot of times they're hearing a distorted side of it and say, oh, that's a religion? Yeah, that's not a good religion. You have to show them by example. You have to live it, because you can tell them 100 times what a Muslim is supposed to be. And if they look at you and they don't see that in you and your behavior, in the way you work, in the way you treat people around you, you're wasting your time. You have to live it, and you have to spread the word, but you have to enforce it with actions. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala says, وَمَنْ جَاهَدَ فَإِنَّمَا يُجَاهِدُ لِنَفْسِهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَغَنِيٌّ عَنِ الْعَالَمِينَ in Surah Al-Ankabut, chapter 29, verse 6. And whoever strives only strives for the benefit of himself. Indeed, Allah is free from need of the worlds. So striving in Allah's way is a favor you do to your own self. Do yourself a favor and perform jihad in the way of Allah. Jihad against your nafs, your desires. Jihad against ignorance. Jihad against anyone who wants to badmouth the faith. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala does not need us. He does not. He will protect His faith. The question is, will we have any part in the protection of that faith? And if we don't step up and support Allah's faith, we will get replaced. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لكم فاستغفروه إنه غفور رحيم.